Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. We respectfully acknowledge that the community of the municipality of Highlands East is located on the 3D20 Michi-Segag territory and in the traditional territory of the Michi-Segag and Chippewa nations. The community of the municipality of Highlands East respectfully acknowledge that the Williams Treaty First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? The agenda.
That the agenda for the regular meeting of council of February 10th, 2026 be approved as circulated.
Someone move. Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Minutes.
That council for the municipality of Highlands East approves the minutes of the regular and special council meetings of January 13th and 29th, 2026.
If someone move. Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Councillor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Delegations, we have none this morning, so we'll get right into development. The department reports, and we'll go to building. Colin.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. So our staff report for January is here for Council's info today. The only thing I was going to mention is we're working on, like I said last time, lots of admin stuff at this time of year. So we're sending out all our septic reinspection letters. We have some outstanding permits, renewals, that kind of stuff we're working on. But yeah, that's my monthly report for today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Any questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the building department January 2026 operations report as submitted by the chief building official as information only.
Someone move. Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Bylaw operations report. Wayne.
Morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. I can't find my button this morning to view it. But anyway, you have the report before you. We changed the reporting process to be more in line with the building and planning departments. As of note, there's a Superior Court ruling that come out of Mississauga that struck down part of their clean and clear bylaw, so we're having to look at it. Mike has been diligently working on the administrative penalty bylaw, but while we were working through it, there was several of the existing bylaws that need to be upgraded, and it was felt that it would be best to wait until we got them done so we could do the administrative penalty bylaw all at the same time. And if there's any questions, I'd be trying to answer them for you.
Wayne, thank you. And I do like that format, and thank you for putting that together for us. Questions, please.
I got news because I don't like the format at all. I don't like the format. It has now become data and not information. What you're seeing is a whole set of statistics, great stuff, but it doesn't address the issue that we've been dealing with all along. And that is, how long has something been out there before we could actually deal with it and close it? And secondly, what's the progress of any one of those things? The fact that we're trying to standardize it, that's wonderful. I get that. But at the end of the day, we cannot standardize and give up the effectiveness of what we're doing. What am I supposed to do when I read this? There's nothing there for me to react to. It's just numbers on a piece of paper. The old system was able to tell us exactly what the problem was. We could then, from there, ask relative questions. With this report, there's nothing there to ask. It's strictly statistics. And if it's up to me, and I would really recommend that we go back to what we had before, or some modified version of it where we can see a better history, because I do not like this at all, and I have no interest in approving it either.
Any comments, or Wayne, or
I have no comments. I just do as I'm asked.
Yeah. It's the direction of council. If you're not satisfied with the format of the report, or if you would like to leave it with the statistical information and also have the additional data provided to you as a supplementary report to the data, we can look at that as well, or we can revert back to the initial way that the bylaw department was doing it. We were just trying to streamline reporting. And when bylaw has, about 20 some pages of files, there are times where maybe a report or a file gets overlooked. So we were trying to streamline it and make it a little simplistic for everyone to follow. But again, it's at the direction of council.
Cease.
I don't have a problem with the rationale, but I think we're becoming efficient and paying the cost of effectiveness. To get really efficient, I'm looking at all these numbers, and it's a bunch of numbers. Like I'm looking at down in one of them, let's just say the complaint is zoning compliance. We have 26 open files. Marvelous. Miscellaneous complaints. We have in my ward, I've got 1. Marvelous. When was it issued and what's it about? Because at this point in time, I have no idea. Some of them I can understand. If it's zoning compliance, I get that. That might be just ones coming up that come up on a frequent basis. But there are others, especially the ones that are aged. If it got issued this month and it got closed this month, then that would be a total waste to put all that paper together. But we had some that were outstanding to 2018, 20, 22, 24. I need to know what the status of those is so that we can make effective decisions on how to properly supply resources to our department that's responsible for closing this stuff. And there's nothing here that's telling me the challenges they're running into.
And Brittany, that shouldn't be hard to do.
Sorry, can you clarify which part which?
Well, pretty much all of it, but to get the status of some of the older ones, or we should be able to have that or put that forward in information.
That's what I said. If council wishes to keep this and have the other as a supplementary or just revert back, that's fine. It just, whatever the direction is of council, and that's what we'll go with.
Okay. Also,
Whatever council.
Ruth?
Yeah, I think I go along with the, how we had it before, and just add this to it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Angela?
I like both. Sorry, I'm just looking at this and from the way that it was done before, I can see that you've closed a lot of files and you just haven't added them in there. Is that correct? Because like looking at the format that you had before, there was a lot of open files and I believe they use a closed a lot and maybe taken them out, because these numbers really look fairly good to me, compared to reports that we've had previously.
Cam?
I'll give this a bit of thought, and with the old system, with all the detail there in small communities, people who follow this, and there must be some, the details are there in the agendas that are published, whether there's a confidentiality concern with be able to figure out who it's about now. That's just a thought that I have. And whether it's good or bad, I'm not saying. It's just, I'll give that some thought anyway.
Cease?
I respect what everybody's saying, but at the end of the day, I have no problem with 2 reports coming out if that's the way we want to do it. But if you're asking a counselor to make a decision based on statistics and statistics alone, without getting into information related to how it got to be where it is, and not everything, as we read from the ones in the past, were in the control of our bylaw department. They were not in control of it. So to make them accountable for things that are older, that's not right. They have to be able to determine a strong defense and an option. What can they do if it's faced with what they got? But as a council, when I read this, where do I get that information? I don't get it anywhere. All I'm seeing is a series of numbers on a piece of paper. It's good. Did the number go up? Yep, number went up, number went down. But the magnitude of the issue isn't there. How do we make sure at the end of the day, or do we wait for the bylaw enforcement department to complain that they don't have enough resources? I just don't like this way of doing business without having some kind of backup. Because you know, you're asking me, is this a good report? How the hell do I know?
Is there a way we could do a hybrid, do both?
Yes, we can certainly do that, and I can have conversations with the bylaw department about doing a hybrid method for our next meeting.
Okay.
If that's the wish.
Does council wish to have a motion to this for clarification, whether you want the old report back in the agenda, or would you like it as supplementary documentation as you do for the approval of accounts, where you get the check register sent through?
Please.
But I'm not trying to make more work for staff in the sense that just doing it for the sake of doing it. That's not what this is all about. So I'd be quite willing to allow staff to listen to what we've said, because we've said it, and then come back with an idea that would be able to solve it. So to turn around and say that we need to pass a motion, and unless of course that's the way it's supposed to be done, but if direction will do it, then why not just use direction?
Okay. Any other discussion on bylaw? Cam?
Can we come up with a hybrid system, as you suggested, that maybe doesn't list the details of the alleged occurrences or violations, but does list by category what's outstanding by year, and put it into the same chart?
That's up, written.
Yes, thank you, Councillor McKenzie. As I stated, myself and bylaw will discuss, and then we can include some of that additional information.
Great. Resolution for this morning.
That council receive and accept the bylaw department January 2026 operations report as submitted by the bylaw officer for information purposes only.
If someone move. Councillor Strong, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Short-term rental license and report, Olivia.
My apologies. Good morning, Mayor and Council members. My report for the short-term rental licensing program is before you with updated MAT and licensing fee totals for 2025. I did want to highlight revenue is reported based on the quarter in which the payments are received. For example, Q4 2025 covers the period from October 1st to December 31st, with the MAT remittance due date being January 31st, 2026. Therefore, payments received in January 2026 will be reflected in the Q1 2026 reporting period. And then looking ahead, efforts in February and March will focus on following up with non-compliant operators, continuing to work with the 28 license pending registrants, and completing license renewals, which are now underway. Thank you. End of report.
Questions? Aziz?
I'm trying to there was a, unless it comes up later in the agenda, because I've kind of lost track of the forest for the trees here. We were talking about the whole idea of having a review of this
It's
bylaw.
coming up next.
It comes up next? Okay, thank you. I retract them.
Resolution?
The council receive and accept the short-term rental licensing report, January 2026, as submitted by the short-term rental licensing clerk enforcement officer as information only.
Have someone move? Counselor Lewis, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Short-term rental licensing bylaw review request. Brittany?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good morning, council. Before you this morning is a report as it relates to the short-term rental licensing bylaw review request. So we did receive an email request from Miss Oakley by council and staff on November 18th. And the request was requesting council to review the program and discuss the possibility of public consultation of the STR program. So as council is very aware, our STR bylaw was passed on April 9th of 2024 and came into force and effect on October 1st of 2024. So we've been 1 year now in operation, a full cycle of the program. And so since the implementation of the STR licensing bylaw, we've worked through this first cycle, and just similar to what Ms. Petrick provided to you with regards to some of those key outcomes. Some of the licensing and enforcement data has been provided in this report as well, just for council's information with relation to the number of STRs that have been identified, the rental listings, applications we've received, how many are pending, the completed inspections that our staff have done as well, and any appeal cases referred to the appeals committee at the County of Haliburton. Of note is that staff have noticed that compliance has improved as operators become more familiar with the requirements of our bylaw, and enforcement actions have generally been resolved cooperatively. We've provided some financial impacts just with regards to the program as it relates to the revenue side of the program. So we've included the licensing revenue and the MAT revenue that's been collected to date through this program. The MAT funds help with the tourism-related initiatives, and as council will recall, of note, half of that MAT revenue is to be transferred to the Municipal Service Corporation that will be established by the County of Haliburton, and those monies are to be utilized for tourism-related initiatives within the county. Of note, council will note that there's no final program expenditures for 2025 as of yet. Those figures will be finalized following the completion of our year-end processes and once our reconciliations have been completed. So with regards to the requests put before council, it should council wish to engage in the community with regards to the current STR bylaw and the program that we have in place. Some examples of available consultation tools consist of, but are not limited to, these are just available options. Option one, we could hold a public meeting or open house. This would be an open forum allowing for verbal presentations accompanied by written submissions. We could also look at either an online and or accompanying paper survey, which would provide quantifiable feedback from our residents, visitors, and operators. We can host it through the municipal website and also have available printed copies of that as well. We could also request written submissions, allowing stakeholders to provide their detailed feedback in written formation for us to review. We can also do direct outreach to our licensed operators, whether it be an email or a mail out to all the registered STR operators requesting input on the program effectiveness, challenges, any suggested improvements that they may have. And then staff, as I said, would be prepared whatever options council wishes to go on and your preference for those. As well as hearing that the public has some information and that they'd like to bring forward. As staff have also worked through this first year of the program, they also have identified some areas that they'd like to see improved in procedure as well. So some of those areas include, but aren't limited to, just refinement of some definitions and the applicability of those. opportunities for streamlining the application and renewal process, and possibly looking at adjustments to fee structures as appropriate. So if council wishes to proceed with public consultation and staff are directed to incorporate those revisions into the bylaw and the program based on the feedback received, a potential proposed work plan that could be implemented could include collecting and summarizing all the public input, incorporating that relevant public feedback as well as the staff recommendations into a revised draft of the bylaw, present that revised bylaw to council for your review. And if you also want to take it another step further, you could also have public comment period on the revised draft prior to final adoption. And so those are just some of the options before council today. And what staff is seeking is direction from council as to if you wish to engage in public consultation on this program, and if so, in what way would you like to have that public consultation?
Okay, thanks, Brett. And yes, I would certainly entertain the public conference, and I would like to review it and I'm going to say pretty good depth. And I'm looking forward to what staff have to say, because I know there's been a few issues with staff. But what I am going to suggest to council, if we're interested in moving forward with the public on the licensing, I would recommend we look at a couple options that are out there to gather relevant information. You know, to gather required information, it should be provided, in my opinion, in written form. All the feedback come back to us. I'd like to entertain a public survey that would go for distribution, including written feedback. We could place the survey on the website, have hard copies of the survey available in the municipal office, and could send directly to our licensing operators or licensed operators using the information that we have on file. We can complete the feedback from the public, including staff noted changes and proposed updates in a revised bylaw to council to review and the public. And I am going to shoot for March to do all that, but I'll certainly put it out to council for their input. Please.
Yeah, first off, I agree with in principle, I agree with everything you've just said. Having said that, I think things can be done at the same time without being linear. We can do more than one thing at a time. An example, we already know that there are groups of people who are really they're trying to work with our bylaw. They're trying to make it work for them, for us. They recognize the reasons why that we put the bylaw in place in the first place. But at the same time, they're being frustrated by the fact that there's not really a whole lot happening with it at the moment. It's not like we did not know that we were going to have to review this thing. We knew it when we passed it back in 2024, that there would be a review required. And so therefore there is information. There is a combination of things to do. One, if we already have the information tabulated by what our municipal staff has put together, that report should be pretty well ready to issue, I would think. And if not, then that's kind of a strange way to be. The other thing is that there's no reason in the world why we cannot have written submissions to which a public meeting can be held. I recognize that we are now halfway through February, so February is kind of like, not possible, but early March, where we can have people come in and they would be able to speak directly to the council or anyone else for that matter that's in the thing, and to basically identify what their challenges are and listen to what has already been compiled by our staff, not for the purposes of being adversarial, but for the purposes of being able to get together as a team of entrepreneurs who are trying to make a living at this, and staff that are trying to make it happen and come up with a cohesive solution to this problem. And at this point in time, I consider it to be a problem, and it's resolvable. So the big fear when you do this kind of thing on something like STRs is chaos that could come from a meeting like that. There's no need for chaos to come for a meeting. The reason why it doesn't have to is because if there's written submissions beforehand, there is a limited period of time where each person can speak. And it has to be speaking directly to the subject, not adversarial, browbeating and verbal complaints that I don't want the bylaw and all that kind of stuff. There may be relevance to it, but why? So if we did that, I don't see any reason why in very early March, we could not have that kind of a meeting. In the meantime, while that's going on, there's no reason why we can't be circulating the surveys, doing all of the great and wonderful things that we have. Because if we think this is going to be one meeting or it's going to happen in March, I have a funny feeling that that's just wishful thinking. That's never going to happen. It's going to take a while to sort this out. Now you got to put yourself in the position of the STR operators. It's no different than what's happening everywhere else in the world where there's uncertainty. They don't know what to do because they don't know what the rules are going to be. They know the rules are going to change, but to what? And so I think it's extremely important that we begin to show that we are taking control of this situation. We're putting out information that we have, we're collecting information that's relative, and we're making decisions as we can make them, not wait till the final curtain falls and then make one magnanimous decision, which I don't particularly think is going to happen. I think we're going to see that we're going to make what we believe to be the right solution, and then it's going to be critiqued either by us, by staff, or the public, and there's going to be amendments to it. That process could take several months, but if it doesn't start and it doesn't have tangible objectives to begin with, there's no point. And I think that's where we cannot allow that to happen. This is too big a controversial program with too many good and possible bad results. And I'm not prepared to just sit here and let bureaucracy do what it needs to do, which is take up time and produce very little.
Anyone else? Really, Angela?
I think that we should have like a number one and a combination of three with written submissions, before a public meeting. And maybe number two too, a survey online. Just as sitting on the appeals committee, I hear over and over again, didn't get the email. And so I think that if we do a few options, that people are not going to come back and go, I didn't know. Because as I said, on the appeals committee, I hear this all the time. They didn't get the email or didn't get the phone call. So I think this gives plenty of options if we do a variety of them, for people to be heard.
Great, thank you. So I guess what I'm hearing is that here we go again with a hybrid probably. So I would like, if we are going to have a public meeting, I want the written submissions, everything into council beforehand. Of concerns or anything positive, negative, whatever they may have out there. And if we decide to entertain a public, this is all going to take a bit of time. Sam, maybe shoot for the last meeting in March, somewhere around there, but I don't know if that's doable or not, but we'll try. Right.
If it's the will of council, similar to the public meeting that we held for Center Lake, in the sense of you are to register ahead of time for the meeting, you provide your written comments ahead of time for the record. We could look to set something up in that, where the registrant can come, they can speak to their issues that they've submitted.
Or Zoom in.
Or Zoom, however you wish to do that. We can, if that's the will you'd like to go with that one. And then the only other piece like to confirm is you would like to have an online or paper survey available, and also include the direct outreach to the licensed operators.
Yes.
As well. And then the last piece would be when you would like to hold the meeting. So I heard Mayor say potentially the second optional meeting it would be our second meeting of the month in March, if you want to set it out on its own so that it's, its own special meeting rather than being incorporated with our regular operating operational council meetings.
That pretty well covers it. Cease.
I gotta be honest, I'm not comfortable with pushing it out to the end of March. Having said that, I'm hearing what you're saying. And I think that having a dedicated meeting makes sense. It's what we should be doing. To make it easy for people, we know that we have meetings on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. The fourth being an option. And to make it easy for people, I would think that that's probably the way to go. Again, I would have preferred to do it sooner, but having said that, there has to be a reality put into this thing, and there's going to be a lot of compiling and putting stuff together. So I can buy into the second meeting in March, but it needs to have some kind of an overview. So is it possible that in the first week in March, the first meeting in March, we get a summary report of what exactly it is we're going to do? Not the stuff itself, because that's going to be compiled over a period of time. But what's the intention? How are we going to do this? We talked about we could do a little bit of this, we could do a little bit of that. What is the plan? Because at the end of the day, we have to have something ready for these people to start operating. Some of them start in April, some start in May, but almost all of them are going in June and July. And so we need to have something ready for that. Now, whether it's an amended bylaw, let's see what comes out of all these consultations first, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with the bylaw.
All right, so getting back to the format, I guess what you come up with, I'm fine with it. But again, I guess the concern was the second meeting in March, and I think that's doable. I don't want to put staff in a position where they're trying to scramble, and I want it done and done right. So let's shoot for our second meeting in March and around that time, and do it then. Brittany?
Just to Deputy Mayor Riles' point with regards to the operator. So the bylaw is still in force and effect as it is right now. So until such time as there is a change, if you're a licensed operator and your renewal is coming due, you're still going to go and apply for your license renewals. If you're looking to rent your house or a cottage, same thing. So in the interim, it's still business as usual until there is an actual change. So if there is a change.
And that's fair enough. See,
Totally, that you can't have chaos. We have to have one set of rules until we change those rules. And then when we change those rules, that becomes a new set. So I totally agree.
so have you got an idea of what we're looking for, Britt?
Yes, Mayor, I believe so. And I believe our clerk's going to follow up just with some direction to that effect.
Okay, so the motion, council, that council receive and accept, excuse me, the report short-term rental licensing bylaw review request as prepared by the CAO treasurer. And further, that council directs staff to undertake short-term rental licensing bylaw and program consultation. And further, that council chooses 2, 3, 4, and 1 being written submissions, online and paper survey, and public meeting consultation methods, also the direct outreach, that is number 4. And further, that the public meeting takes place at the optional meeting date of March 2026 as amended.
Cease?
Could you please add to that we'll have a preliminary report for the first week of March? I want to know where we're going on the fourth week. So just a briefing,
Or even a week before. Like you're cutting us a bit fine.
Well, if we don't know what our game plan is
Well,
in 4 weeks from now, then we're not going to have any more luck with 2 additional weeks.
Can you not figure it out in a week?
Well, if they can, then send it off.
I'm talking the week before the last meeting. We'll get the information you're looking for, not the first week. It gives you a week to do your.
If council overrules my request, then I will live with that. But I just do not believe that procrastination is going to produce anything. I mean, if we've talked about it today. I mean, I could put together a summary report in about 2 hours that would summarize what we said today and the areas where we could be looking. And if that is too much to ask, then I guess that's too much to ask.
Do you think it's doable?
I need clarification on what the summary report is in relation to, because what I'm hearing from council is the direction we're taking is that we're going to be advertising for a public meeting. We will be receiving, you'll have to register for the meeting. You'll have to supply your written comments prior to the meeting to be on the agenda, similar to any other public meeting. Staff will go back and work on preparing a survey in order to release to the public. And when the survey is ready for release, we will then release it on our website as well as direct outreach to the licensed operators. So is there something outside of that summary direction that council requires?
I don't, but please go ahead.
It took you roughly about a minute and a half to summarize that. Can we get that in writing with a little bit more detail? I don't think it'll take more than a half an hour. That's all I'm saying. This is extremely important to everybody and especially to me. So if you don't, if it doesn't want to be done, then that's fine. But I don't see the problem with putting together a small briefing that would outline exactly what we decided today for next
I
meeting.
understand. Good.
What we will do is in our monthly STR bylaw report that comes before council, we will just make a note in the report that at this meeting, the direction provided by council to staff was the following.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going to read that resolution again?
Sure.
Okay.
That council receive and accept the report short-term rental licensing bylaw review request as prepared by the CAO treasurer, and further the council directs staff to undertake short-term rental licensing bylaw and program consultation, and further that council chooses 2, 3, 4, and 1 being written submissions, online and paper survey, direct outreach to licensed operators, and public meeting consultation methods. And further, that council directs staff to provide a brief summary report ahead of the meeting, which will be an inclusion in the March 10th council meeting agenda, and that the public meeting takes place at the operational meeting date of March 2026 as amended.
Could I have someone move? Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Fire Department Monthly. Chris?
Morning, Mayor Burton, members of council and staff. Before you is the monthly operations report for the fire department. Starting off January, again, quite busy, 30 calls for January. That's 7 for Station 1, 6 for Station 2, 3 for Station 3, and 14 for Station 4. That's all for the incident report. But regarding the deputy fire chief, we're pleased to announce the position of deputy fire chief has now been filled. The successful candidate is Mark Jones, and Mark will be starting his role with Highlands East on February 17th. Most of us are familiar with Mark, but I'll read the rest of this blurb for the sake of the public who aren't familiar with him. Mark brings extensive experience in emergency services and municipal operations to the municipality. Mark is a familiar face to many staff members already from his 12 years with the County of Haliburton, where he most recently served as IT services manager. His strong technical skills will be a valuable asset to our fire department as it continues to evolve. In addition to his IT background, Mark brings extensive frontline experience. He has served for many years with the OPP Auxiliary and has been an active member of Dysart Fire, where he held the role of captain. Mark has also contributed significantly as an instructor for the fire recruit course, helping to train and prepare new firefighters for service. Mark's combination of emergency service experience, leadership, instructional background, and technical proficiency will be a tremendous benefit to the municipality and to the fire department. That's all for that report.
Thanks, Chris. I guess for council's information, Mark's had a bit of a setback. He was in a bit of an accident on the weekend, and I just wish him all the very best. Chris, you're going to probably have to struggle along until we get Mark back. It could be a while, but I certainly wish him well, and I'm looking forward to having him on staff with us. Cease?
Chris, what happened to Mark is just, should never happen to anybody, and I hope him and his family are able to get through this. Having said that, he's starting his first day on what would be equivalent of long-term disability, or at least disability of some type.
Just be.
How are we gonna do that?
Okay. Can't go there.
We can't go there.
We cannot have that kind of discussion at this time.
So he's coming on February the 17th. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else in your report, Chris?
That's all for that report.
Could I have resolution?
The council receive and accept the fire department February 2026 monthly operations report as submitted by the fire chief as information only.
Have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Firefighter appointment report. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And before you is another report for adding 2 firefighters to the roster. Morgan Woods at Station 3 in Goodrum and Thomas Lambert, Station 1 in Cardiff. That's all for that report, other than there is also one more application we're working through now. So just those 2 to the roster today. Thank you.
Very good. Angela?
Oh, that's great to hear. I just want to know what we're doing for advertising for recruitment for volunteers, because I know that like some of the signs on the fire halls are pretty faded for recruitment. So is this inserts into taxes, or is it on our website, or what are we doing there?
So far, it's just been some social media posts and then word of mouth. Most of the advertising that is by signage has not led to very many leads, as they're all looking for how much the paycheck is going to be and how many holidays they get with it, thinking it's a full-time position. So it's mostly through word of mouth and knowing the actual firefighters to know what's involved with it.
Other questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the firefighter appointment report as submitted by the fire chief, and further, the council appoint the following to the roster for a 12-month probationary period: Morgan Woods to Station 3, Goodrum, and Thomas Lambert, Station 1, Cardiff.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Parks, Recreation and Facilities, monthly report. Britt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Property Supervisor Jim Alden couldn't be here with us this morning, so just a couple of quick updates with regards to Jim's report. Staff have been busy with facility upkeep and quite a bit of snow removal. We've had quite an abundance of snow the last while, so they've been assisting with plowing efforts and shoveling in front of walkways. Our community centers, again, have been very busy throughout the month of January, as well as the Keith Tallman Memorial Arena continues with quite a few private and regular rentals as well.
Great. Questions? Cease?
Just a comment. I'm looking at the floor here, and we have it put in for pickleball. That is a really good looking thing. Is there an opportunity to use that at some of our other facilities? Because if we could get something that would be aesthetically pleasing like that, it would make sense to just put it in those facilities that can use it.
Have the pickleball group. Good.
There, with regards to the type of paint that they utilize, because of the type of flooring that we have here, it's different than some of the other flooring that we have throughout the other centers. So again, I'll refer that back to Jim just to see if that's what can be
Like
utilized.
some of the, they have wooden floors and they may stick and pull the finish off.
Okay, got
But,
it.
you know, for example, Goodrum, I think it's the trestle floor like this one.
Yeah.
I believe, so it'd probably be.
Yeah, because I think they have two or three courts there, which would look really good looking like that.
Other questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the Parks, Recreation and Facilities January 2026 report as submitted by the property supervisor as information only.
Someone move. Councillor Strong, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Environmental, water and wastewater. Patrick?
Yes, good morning, Mayor and Council. I believe you have my monthly report before you. One item I'd like to bring to your attention are the Wilberforce and Gooderham public water taps. The department has gone ahead and removed the thread connections from these public water taps due to an increased usage of bulk water filling via hose connections. These taps remain available to provide safe public drinking water to residents and visitors who may not otherwise have access. The water systems supplying these taps are not designed to support withdrawal of large volumes of water on a daily basis while maintaining reliable service to connected businesses and communities. Additionally, hose connections create a risk of contamination through potential backflow from unregulated containers being filled. Major concerns backflow prevention. If there are any questions regarding this topic or the other topics related in the report, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thanks, Patrick. And I'm very familiar with the hydrants and what we do have. And I was always concerned about the backflow. And I've seen it in my career as well, drilling. I've seen it happen, and I think it's a wise move what you've done. Anyone else? Cease?
Yeah, I can understand the rationale for doing what we're doing. I've had a lot of complaints, though, of course, from people who depend on that water, and they're bringing in bulk containers to the tune of 200-gallon containers to fill them, and that's what they're using for the reserve water. But I can understand the fact that that we have to make sure that that water stays potable in the sense that it's drinkable. And I don't know if there's any solution to that. If there is, it would be nice to know. But if not, then I guess we're pretty well telling people that they have to have smaller containers that do not require hose connections in order to fill them.
Yeah, we've left the water on to allow access for people to have the clean potable drinking water. That's definitely not an issue. It's just the 1,000 liters at a time being taken to supply whole houses that the systems just can't support.
Other questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the Environmental Department February 2026 operations report as submitted by the environmental supervisor as information only.
If someone move, Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Public Works, Roads and Waste, Brittany? Busy today.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Public Works Manager, Mr. Kelly is away today, so I will be presenting his Public Works update for council. So I will just cut to the chase, I guess I was going to say. Just hit some of the highlights here. So staff have been out operating both graders with the wings. They've been cutting down snowbanks and shoving the banks back as we allow for more room for snow storage. And they've been very busy with snow removal. We've also brought in a contractor to do some snow blowing along the pathways in Cardiff. There was quite a bit of snow buildup and our truck wasn't able to actually get down those. So we've blown the snow out to allow for safe, effective use of plowing for the pathways. And just of note, staff did apply to the MTO pothole prevention and repair program back in December of 2025, and we were successful in securing up to a maximum of $38,000 towards this program, offsetting road construction projects. These projects are actually works that were completed last year between April 1, 2025 and March 31st of 26. So good news on that front. And just on the waste side of things, staff are working on the pricing for our household hazardous waste events for 26 and gathering the required data to supply to our contracted consultants to prepare our annual landfill monitoring reports.
Great. Questions? Cease?
First off, Mother Nature has not been very friendly with this year. I would assume that the amount of snow removal that we've had is got to be pushing our budget to the limit. Do you see there being any challenges with holding the budget that we had set? And two, if we have to go over, are we covered with reserves just in case?
Yes, from an operational standpoint, and a budgetary perspective, everything is on point. We're fine from that sense of things. So business as usual for us.
Resolution? Oh, Cam, sorry.
Yeah, just a comment that I don't know how many days it didn't snow in January. There couldn't have been very many, but as soon as we got 2 days in a row without snow, our streets here were pretty narrow, the banks were high, and our staff were out there addressing that issue. So from me, well done. And I understand same thing went on in Gooder and Wilberforce.
Resolution,
The council receive and accept the Public Works Monthly Update, January 2026, as submitted by the Public Works Manager for information purposes only.
if someone move, Counselor Strong, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Information technology, Heath?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Before you today is the January 2026 Information Technology and Digital Transformation Report provided for Council's information. The January report reflects continued foundational work focused on strengthening governance, managing risk, and preparing the organization for upcoming system and service improvements. During the month, staff have advanced planning around the ERP modernization, cybersecurity and compliance, and data and asset management integration while continuing to build staff capacity through targeted training and change management. Are there any questions from council?
Thanks, Heath. Questions or comments? Seeing none, resolution,
The council receive and accept the Information Technology January 2026 Operations Report as submitted by the Deputy Treasurer for information purposes only.
someone move, Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Counselor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Heath. Finance approval accounts, Heath.
Yes. Good morning, Mayor and Council. Before you is the January approval of accounts report for a total of $582 or $582,000 and sorry, let me say that again, $582,041.
Questions? Resolution,
The council receive and accept the Finance Department January 2026 General Accounts Report in the amount of $582,041.11 as information only.
if someone move, Counselor Lewis, second by Counselor Strong. All in favor? Carried. Administration. Britt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So before council is just the monthly report and just a couple of updates for council this morning with regards to our website project, which is scheduled to undergo our required updates in Q1 of this year. We will be attending a kickoff meeting with the representatives from GHD during the week of February 23rd to begin that required migration work. So that project will be ongoing for Q1 into Q2. Work on the service delivery review does continue. Due to unforeseen circumstances, there was a scheduled check-in meeting that was scheduled for the 14th of January. Unfortunately, it was canceled and a new meeting date has yet to be scheduled. As of late, the majority of my time has been focused around preparing the 2026 budget for presentation to council. We did have our capital forecasting held on January 29th. And those projects are integrated now into the operational budget, which will be discussed next week at our special council meeting on the 17th of February. So looking forward to getting that underway.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Cease?
Just the whole concept of where we stand with our volunteer groups. Do you give any kind of a progress report with this, or are we going to look at that maybe at the next meeting?
So there's been emails back and forth with the groups. We've received their written submissions and we've been canvassing the groups as to their availability, their preference, whether evening or afternoon meetings works best for their schedules, and then looking to schedule that date based on the availability to sit down and meet with them.
And majority is going to rule because we can't fix everybody. Cease?
Or are we looking, do you think we're going to be comfortable having that kind of a meeting in March?
Yes, I believe we've received from comment back now from majority of the group, so we're just going to look to either schedule for the end of February or first part of March.
Thank you.
Resolution.
The council receive and accept the CAO monthly report, February 2026, as submitted by the CAO treasurer as information only.
Someone move. Counselor Strong, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Human Resources Monthly Report. Tracy?
Good morning, Mayor and members of council. You have before you the monthly Human Resources Report for February for information. As the Fire Chief has previously mentioned, we have now completed the recruitment process for the Deputy Fire Chief Training Officer. The posting for the part-time short-term rental licensing and enforcement officer has closed, and we are currently reviewing the applications and will be arranging interviews soon. The posting for a temporary full-time general equipment operator will close on February 17th. I have been currently reviewing and updating the pre-emergency portal, and the normal payroll processes continue. I would be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thanks, Tracy. Questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the Human Resources Monthly Report, February 2026, as submitted by the HR Payroll Coordinator for information purposes only.
Someone move. Counselor Lewis, second by Counselor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Joint Accessibility Plan, the County of Haliburton.
Yes, good morning, council. So before you is the 2023-2027 multi-year joint accessibility plan. This is an annual update of the plan that is a requirement under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. Just a little bit of background. The plan was updated, or it is updated annually by the municipalities and the county. So for this year, staff completed revisions to the appendices outlining municipal projects, removing those that have been finished and adding new or previously incomplete projects to the updated plan. There's also a 2025 accessibility accomplishments document, which highlights key improvements to enhance Highlands East and all of our neighboring municipalities, as well as the county. We did also encounter accessibility audits conducted in 2025. Both ourselves and the County of Haliburton were audited, and what came out of that is that we needed to include procedures for preventative and emergency maintenance of accessible elements in public spaces. The plan was presented to the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee on December 10th of 2025. The committee recommended to the County Council for approval, and it was approved by County Council at their January 14th, 2026 meeting. And that is my report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Resolution?
That council receive and accept the report 2023-2027 multi-year joint accessibility plan and 2025 accessibility accomplishments as provided by the municipal clerk. And further, that the 2023-2027 multi-year joint accessibility plan be approved by bylaw at this meeting.
If someone move, Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Counselor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Procedural bylaw amendments, Robin?
Yes, council. So I am bringing forth the procedural bylaw, which regulates council meetings, as you know. And the reason for we're bringing this forward, typically we look at this once every term. And again, if there's legislation that, provokes us to review and bring forward, it is done throughout the term. Having said that, we did want to include, we do already somewhat of a consent agenda. However, it wasn't written in the procedural bylaw. And what I mean by a consent agenda is that where there's several items and that you council approve with one motion. those items altogether. And with the consent, of course, any of those items, council can pull out one particular item if they wish to do so. And so we are doing that with our bylaws, with our resolutions, and with correspondence to date. So again, we just wanted to incorporate that. The other thing that we wanted to incorporate is regarding petitions. As you know, we had a petition come forward in 2025. We do have procedures that lay out the land for how petitions are dealt with. And so having said that, again, that wasn't included in the procedural bylaw. So that was the purpose of including it. The petitions are dealt with similarly to the same as what delegations have been up to this point. All the reasons as to when a petition comes in, what it needs, what the requirements are that it has to contain, and the reasons for why a petition may not be included in the agenda. Having said that, not that if it's not included in the agenda, not to say that council definitely is not aware of it, because they would be made aware of it. However, there are legal reasons and under Robert's rules as to why sometimes petitions or delegations do not come forth into a public agenda. And so that is really the two additions to the procedural bylaw. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Robin. Questions? Cease?
Well, first off, I think the idea of the consent agenda is really a good thing. It's in there. But I'm a little concerned about the whole concept of petitions. And petitions are the way for the average person, when grouped together, to voice their opinion. And it's a great tool if it's done properly. So I can understand the fact that we have to deal with other legislation incapable of doing that. But if we could just walk through some of the items to just get clarity on what we're saying we can or cannot do. And so all I did was I just printed off the two pages that relate to petitions. And the first, I have several of them that create just questions. So the first one that comes up is in 22.3, which means that petitions introducing new business and so on and so forth, which is basically what you were talking about. So that comes before the municipal clerk and it comes before the CAO. And then you're saying that in some way, shape, or form, council is going to be made aware of the petition. Okay. And you've also identified that if the petition isn't available or any correspondence isn't available by 12 p.m. of the previous week, then it can't be included in the agenda. Fair enough. Does that exclude it from the following week or the following meeting? Because now it's been submitted early.
Oh, no, by all means. 12 p.m. is our deadline for every council agenda. So if it comes in after that, it would then be looked at to go on to the next future meeting agenda.
Okay, and I understand that, but I'm not sure if it's worded that clearly here. It seems to give you the impression that at the discretion of the CAO, you may choose not to put it in.
With those words, Deputy Mayor, with being at the discretion, it's in relation to the subject matter that whether it's in the municipality's authority, like if it falls in line and it doesn't go against any of these points here, then it would be looked at being put onto a future meeting agenda. It wouldn't just not be put on. But these are from A to L are reasons why a petition may be excluded from an agenda. And it's legal issues, of course, labor relations. If it's to try to rescind a council's previous decision, those are all the reasons why that a petition may not be included into an agenda. Same with a delegation, which these are the exact same things that were set out in the current procedural bylaw when it comes to delegations as well. So the petitions aren't being treated any differently than what a delegation has been prior or currently. So having said that, if the petition is good, everything's good with it, and it's past the due date, then it would be looked at coming forth on the next available agenda.
Got it.
Okay.
So the subject matter in the next one does not address something that's in the current jurisdiction of a municipality. Got that? But if somebody says, requests us to say, okay, would we support? Okay, an example could be where the federal government is going to remove the HST on first home building. But we don't have the authority to do that. Like that's nuts. But for us to voice our opinion in support of that legislation is different than passing the legislation itself. So something like that, although the end result is not within our jurisdiction, the ability to influence is. Hence, we have AMO and Roma for delegations to do that kind of thing. In this, what I'm reading, are we going to be able to do that? Or are people going to be able to petition to ask us to support something?
I'm just reading A. It's A that we're talking about. The subject matter that a person wishes to address or the outcome that a person seeks from the council is not within the municipality's authority. I mean, I would think that would be, again, when a petition comes in, council is made aware of it. I believe, you know, it would be a discussion between the mayor, CAO, clerk. This is pretty straightforward. If it's out of the municipality's authority and we can't do anything about it, that's typically, you know, we wouldn't allow it. But I mean, discussion would have to take place.
But that's
It wouldn't just be black and white like that.
That's my point. We cannot change the law that removes the HST. But they're not asking us to do that. They're asking us to support a motion to lobby, for the sake of an argument, the provincial government. So we have that ability.
To me, the question is, it's very much like the one that's coming up later in the agenda.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if somebody decides to put a petition because it doesn't matter what the reason is,
Right.
that would be considered to be something that we can do.
Yeah.
Because
No, understood. Your
that-
point
that- because
taken.
we
I
make sure that
understand what
it's
you're
not
saying.
the subject itself, it's the action requested.
Right. Yeah.
As
No,
opposed
it's
to, we cannot
understood.
change the law, but we can support something. Okay, I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yes. Yes. I think this is for the latter and something that, you know, like, it's definitely not our authority, but again, something like that. And like, as Mayor has stated about the one that's coming up, it is out of our authority, but you want to support, by all
Right.
means, again, it's not black and white. Discussion happens and that's why the discussion takes place. And then to whether it comes on the agenda or not on the agenda.
So that would come before council.
Well, yes, it would be a discussion.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
That's
Mhm.
answer's good. Then there's the C says that if something has already been presented
Mhm.
within the term of council, it cannot come up again.
Unless there's new information. That is correct. And that is under Robert's Rules of Order that conducts.
Makes sense.
I have a
Procedural.
problem with that, but at the end of the day, it goes down to the second half of that same question. Whether we choose to abide by it or we don't. The public has the right to disagree with us, yes or no?
You're representing the public. They've
No.
voted you in.
This is a position,
So-
this is a petition directly from the public.
Right.
Okay, as their representative cumulatively, we made a decision or we're in the, whether it's the same or whether it's amended, that they don't agree with. So now
Right.
what? They have no right to petition to allow us to review that again. Or we have not taken any action on the original the original petition, and now they want to remind us that it's out there. So I'm not sure that you know, photocopying the original one is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that a new petition on the same subject, because we didn't do anything with the first one, or according to the rules here,
Mm-hmm.
we did not make a decision that was in the public interest. And to assume that I speak for all of the people individually that I represent would give me only powers superseded by God, because I can't speak for all the people. I can only speak for some, the ones that make sense. Okay, so to not be able to present it again It doesn't mean we have to do anything with it. It merely means they have the right to present it.
Mhm.
And what we're basically saying here is they have no right to present it. And I think that is wrong.
Understood.
Uh,
I'm, go ahead, Mayor.
Well,
sorry.
I'm just gonna say, I don't know what benefit it would be to send the same petition back. Robin made it very clear. If there's more information, different information on it, certainly entertain it.
But my point is this basically, the general, enough of them, if 2 or 3 people, I am not really sure where we would draw the line of what is a petition and what's a delegation. I mean, that's fine. But if enough people do not agree with what we're doing, then at the end of the day, there needs to be a review of that decision. We don't have to change it. We merely have to review it. That's all. And what we're basically saying here, no, you can't do that. You can't create another petition to review something we made a decision on.
Did you say that was in the Roberts rules?
Yes, yes. It's more there for council, not to have repetitive coming back after council has firmly made a decision. Having said that, council has the authority to overturn many things. Again, that would be a discussion that would have to take place. But I mean, these are under Robert's Rules of Order that it would require new information to bring it forward. So you're not rehearing the same item, same information again and again and again. So these are here to help council, assist council. But again, council has the ability to overturn things. But again, it would be a discussion that would take place.
So my question is
Mhm.
related to
Yeah.
how does that discussion come before council if the petition is not recognized?
Well, as it says in the procedural bylaw, a lot of times things are turned to the head of council. So typically discussions between head of council and clerk and CAO in that turn, is how many things happen when there's discussion before council to come forward.
I have real problems with that because what you're basically saying now is you've reduced, and no disrespect to our mayor. I mean, I'm not trying to say that but it boils down to the fact that we now cannot, in order for council to have any strength, it must act in unison.
Mhm.
There must be a consensus of opinion. And there are certain things that make perfect sense for head of council to make decisions on. Otherwise, we'd be totally in chaos and take forever. But when it comes to petitions, I don't think that falls into that category. Because now we've had a bunch of people who would want to do it, and then we're going to make it just a decision made by 3 people who may or may not choose to inform the rest of council to make that decision. I believe that is incorrect and is not democratic, depending on the nature of the particular subject we're dealing with. So I have a problem with that.
Any other comments? Andrew?
So in a situation, what you're referring to there, Cease, so would council be informed on this before any decision made so that we could look at that? Or is it just a decision that you make before and we have no idea until we hear from the public?
Council would be informed.
Okay, and my only question then would be how? Because obviously this says not how. It merely says it ain't gonna happen if the 3 people that are running the place decide it's not. You know, it's nitpicky, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, because I have been caught several times by not getting the clarity we need. The bylaw is passed, and I've been told, well, that's the bylaw, you can't do anything about it now. You shouldn't have passed it.
So can you change the wording in which way?
So we're speaking with respect to,
Well, there's 2 of them, but the other one is related to E, which is basically the same thing, only different. Down here. C.
I think okay, so if I may suggest, if council permits, because it is on the agenda today, the bylaw
Mhm.
for approval. If we defer as of now and review, and I can bring back with changes for the next meeting of March 10th. If that suffices, instead of doing it right on the spot, right
I
today.
think that would be an excellent suggestion and I would certainly go for it.
Okay, perfect.
So
All right, so we are just deferring the motion. I will though ask for a mover and seconder on the
Yep.
defer.
someone move, Deputy Mayor Wiles, second by Councillor Lewis.
Are you gonna go with E here? You said that you were going to bring up E,
Well, E is
just because if we're gonna do this and we're deferring it, then at least you have an opportunity to get everything ready for the next.
yeah, E is in the same general category in that, again, at the discretion of the mayor, should he choose. Again, it's, right now, we're a cohesive group of people. But somewhere down the road, we might not be. And if the mayor decides he doesn't want something to come forward, it just doesn't come forward. Now, I don't know about the other 4 people of council, but I wouldn't be too comfortable with that if I was sitting on that particular council.
We said that we would keep council informed.
No, I understand that, but E says, and it says clearly, the mayor as head of council has made the decision and or recommendation to deny the request and then the rest makes sense after that. So technically, the mayor has the ability to stop it then and there.
No,
Well, that's what it says right here.
what wasn't the word recommendation in there that I'd be making? And I believe that'd be to council.
No, it says made the decision and or recommendation. I don't mind about the recommendation, but I certainly have a problem with decision. Because that means that now we have a one-man show. And again, Mr. Mayor, I
hear
totally
it.
apologize.
No, I hear that. I'm fine. Don't apologize. We've decided we're gonna defer this, so get anything else, get it out here. There's a motion on the floor to defer, I should say.
Mhm.
No. No, I'm fine with that.
All in favor?
Oh, sorry, Mayor, if I may ask for clarification. As our current and always preceding bylaw that we've had in place has these same recommendations or these same points for delegations that haven't been questioned. May I ask if you won't wish for the delegations to also be with the same context as for petitions?
I think it would make sense.
Okay,
So we'll defer the bylaw as well.
yes. Okay.
All in favor? Carried. Restricted acts of council, lame duck period.
Yes, council, as you all know, this is an election year, 2026, October 26th. So before you is, this is a regulated, mandated bylaw that's coming before you. It's really a safeguard if it comes into play as to not having 75% of your council coming back or being nominated, actually. There's 2 periods. Nomination period to voting day, and then from voting day to the time that council actually swears the oath and takes office. So basically, what it does is it provides the authorization to the CAO to take necessary action if need be. Again, council would be apprised of what the situation is. However, council being 75% less, which is equivalent to basically 3.75 of our council, right? Which rounds to 4. So having said that, it's always just a nice safeguard to have this bylaw go through and approve. in instances. So there is, sorry, just, I'll speak to the restricted acts, okay? And they are the appointment or removal from office of any officer of the municipality, which includes your CAO, clerk, treasurer, and CBO. The hiring or dismissal of any employee of the municipality, including those set out in 23.31 of the Municipal Act. The disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality, which has a value exceeding 50,000 at a time of disposal. Having said that, if it's included in the budget, you've already pre-approved, so. And fourth, making any expenditures or incurring any other liabilities which exceeds 50,000. And I did mention already, if it's already done in the budget, you've been through that process. So yes, really, I've spoke to the 75%. We have a council of 5 in that instance, which rounds to 4 from the 3.75. So if you have 4 council running again, it does not determine lame duck status. What matters is how many are actually elected, okay? Before the election, council is not in lame duck simply because someone is not running. After nomination day, still not in lame duck, unless the number of acclaimed or uncontested returning members drops below 4. After election results are certified, council becomes lame duck only if 3 or fewer of the current members are elected. So again, in our case, if 4 run again, then there's no lame duck. If 3 are elected, lame duck. If 2 or fewer are elected, lame duck. So again, this is a safeguard mandatory bylaw that is highly recommended that council approve.
I hate the name. Says.
Yep, first off, I think the fiscal part of it, I understand totally. Does that also affect bylaws?
That is not one of the things set out in the 4 reasonings, okay? It's basically financial and hiring and firing.
So,
But if a bylaw is referencing, say some expenditure, which is in the tone of 50,000, then yes, it's going to affect your bylaw, right? Because you don't have that authority during that period if you are lame duck.
so if we wanted to change a bylaw regarding hours of operation, that could go on.
Hours of operation, yes.
You know, that's what
Yes.
I'm just asking. Those kinds of examples that have no bearing on this at all. Has to
Yeah,
have
no.
Some kind of
It's,
a fiscal accountability in excess of $50,000.
yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? Resolution?
Okay. The council receive and accept the report regarding restricted acts of council as provided by the municipal clerk as information, and further, the council approved delegating its powers under section 275(3) of the Municipal Act 2001 to the chief administrative officer treasurer from August 21st, 2026 to the swearing in of the new council to A, be the financial signing authority for expenditures outside the current budget exceeding 50,000 and or for the disposition of any real or personal property of the municipality which has a value exceeding 50,000 at the time of disposal. B, be the authority to hire or remove any officer from to employment with the municipality of Highlands East, and the council directs that a delegation of authority bylaw be brought forward at this meeting for approval, and that the bylaw shall come into force only in the event that less than 3/4, 75% of the current members of council will be returning to sit on the new council after nomination day of the 2026 municipal elections as determined by the municipal clerk.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Regulated election signs.
Yes, council. So before you, once again, this is a routine bylaw that we do bring forward each election. In the past, our bylaw enforcement has also been included in the drafting of this bylaw. With this year, there are a few additions, proposed changes that are marked in red that I'm sure that you have seen and read. First one being is clarifying the definition of election sign by adding banners and flags. 2, clarifying setback and proximity requirements for election signs in relation to voting places. 3, introducing spacing requirements for election signs when placed in parallel or in series. And finally, adding the ability to remove signs that are defaced. We also, to keep in mind that candidates do have to abide by the county sign bylaw as well as the Ministry of Transportation bylaw. Other than those 4 things that I've mentioned, there has been no alter or change to the bylaw, which was initiated back in 2022 for that election. And if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions? Seeing none, resolution.
The council received the report regulate election signs in municipal, provincial, and federal elections from the municipal clerk, and further, the council approved the bylaw and policy at this meeting of February 10th, 2026.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Strong, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Planning Department monthly. Carmen coming in?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Today's planning agenda includes a couple planning applications for Mayor and Council's consideration. But first, before you is the monthly operations for the Planning Department.
Any questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the Planning Department January 2026 operations report as submitted by the planning technician as information only.
There's someone move. Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase, 1138 Edward Sanderson Drive.
Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1138 Edward Sanderson, Monmouth, Tulk and Borovoy. The application was received on January 23rd, 2026. At this time, staff await the submission of a plan of survey to confirm the extent of zoning non-compliance and or the presence of unlawful buildings and structures within the Shoreline Road Allowance. A bylaw officer has attended the site and noted that no building permits could be located for the elevated deck or the addition to the north end of the dwelling. Any buildings or structures requiring permits under the Ontario Building Code will need to obtain the appropriate approvals to the satisfaction of the chief building official. End of report.
Okay. Any questions? Cease?
So what are we doing about the ones that were non-permitted?
It will become a condition once we have the survey and everything is determined. They will have to get retrospective building permits and have inspections done by the building department to bring everything into a permitted state. The owners of this property recently acquired it, so I do not think that these unlawful structures were constructed by them, but it will be their job to rectify it given the Shoreline Road Allowance purchase and the rezoning.
Thank you.
Other questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the report Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1138 Edward Sanderson, Tulk and Borovoy as prepared by the planning technician, and that council approves in principle an application to close and purchase the Shoreline Road Allowance from Tulk and Borovoy and direct staff to forward to the municipal solicitor for circulation, and further that prior to rendering the land surplus to municipal need and permitting the disposition of the shoreline, one, that the applicant submit an up-to-date plan of survey of the Shoreline Road Allowance in accordance with the shoreline disposition policy for staff review. The survey shall identify all structures and any areas of zoning non-compliance. Any non-compliant or unlawful structures must either be removed or relocated, or may alternately be recognized through a zoning bylaw amendment subject to department and council support, which may require the application to enter into a site plan agreement. Any application for a rezoning bylaw amendment shall be subject to an application for pre-consultation review, which shall be accompanied by a current plan of survey. And finally, that any buildings or structures requiring permits to address Ontario Building Code matters obtain such permits to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Counselor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1068 Bel Air Lane.
Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1068 Bel Air Lane, Cardiff, ground. The application was received on October 31st, 2025. The applicant is required to purchase the shorter road allowance in front of their property because the dwelling, which is utilized as a short-term rental, appears to be located almost entirely on the Shoreline Road Allowance owned by the municipality. The applicant has submitted an encroachment agreement to permit interim short-term rental operations until the Shoreline Road Allowance is transferred. At this time, staff await the submission of a plan of survey to confirm the extent of noncompliance and or the unlawful buildings and structures in the Shoreline Road Allowance. Upon submission and review of the survey and a site visit by the bylaw department, staff will be in a position to further direct the applicant with respect to the preferred course of action to remedy noncompliant or unlawful buildings and structures. End of report.
Questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the report Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase at 1068 Bel Air Lane ground as prepared by the planning technician. And the council approves in principle an application to close and purchase the Shoreline Road Allowance from ground and direct staff to forward to the municipal solicitor for circulation. And further, that prior to rendering the land surplus to municipal need and permitting the disposition of the shoreline, that the applicants provide an up-to-date plan of survey of the Shoreline Road Allowance in accordance with the shoreline disposition policy for staff review. 2, the applicants address non-compliant zoning issues through the approval of a zoning bylaw amendment to recognize the dwelling located within the Shoreline Road Allowance and also address, remove, and or relocate any non-compliant or unlawful buildings and structures. And finally, a bylaw officer attends site and provides a report to the planning department.
Could I someone move? Counselor Lewis, second by Counselor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1279 English Close Poppy.
Yes, Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1279 English Close Glamorgan, Poppy. The application was received on January 15th, 2026. The applicants wish to purchase the Shoreline Road Allowance in front of their lot in order to increase the lot area and support the redevelopment of the property. It is understood that the new owners intend to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling. A municipal law enforcement officer attended the site on January 15th, 2026 and provided a detailed inspection report to the planning department. The survey submitted with the application identifies several existing structures, including portions of the guest cabin, a wood storage structure, and a part of a dwelling's deck located within the Shoreline Road Allowance. The survey further confirms that a wood storage structure encroaches approximately 1.4 meters onto the neighboring property. The structures on the property must be brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw to the satisfaction of buildings or planning staff, either through the approved zoning bylaw amendment, the removal of structures, or any buildings or structures requiring Ontario Building Code permits must be obtained to the satisfaction of the chief building official. End of report.
You? Questions? Resolution?
The council receive and accept the report Shoreline Road Allowance Purchase 1279 English Close for Poppy as prepared by the planning technician, and the council approves in principle an application to close and purchase the Shoreline Road Allowance from Poppy and direct staff to forward to the municipal solicitor for circulation. And further, that prior to rendering the land surplus to municipal need and permitting the disposition of the shoreline, that the applicants address all zoning non-compliance identified in the bylaw report, including the portions of the guest cabin, the open face wood storage structure, and the deck of the existing dwelling that are located within the Shoreline Road Allowance. Any non-compliant or unlawful buildings or structures must be removed or relocated onto the upland property or may alternatively be recognized through the approval of a zoning bylaw amendment subject to support from the planning department and approval by council. This includes a single-story addition to the guest cabin constructed without permits, lot coverages deficit for a guest cabin, and exceeding the maximum size permitted for a guest cabin under the comprehensive zoning bylaw. And 2, the applicants relocate the open face wood storage structure entirely onto their own property and out of the Shoreline Road Allowance and the shoreline setback and cease the encroachment onto the adjoining property. 3, that any buildings or structures requiring Ontario Building Code permits, including but not limited to the guest cabin addition and any deck or structural components lacking permits, obtain the necessary building permits to the satisfaction of the chief building official. and that the owner submit as an as-built floor plan of the guest cabin for review in conjunction with the planning approval. And finally, that plans for any proposed replacement dwelling be submitted as part of the zoning bylaw amendment application to allow staff to confirm that lot coverage, accessory lot coverage, and siting will comply with the comprehensive zoning bylaw once the shoreline road allowance lands are added.
Have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Center Lake official plan and zoning bylaw amendments. Chris?
Morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
There's still I have the agenda here. There's still a public meeting coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I prepared a status memo on the Center Lake applications for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment. And so that report is February 3rd. February 3rd. Just let me maximize my screen here so I can. No, February 4th. Okay, so Mr. Mayor, Council, in preparing this report again, which this flows out of the public meeting that was held on October 7th, and this was the Planning Act public meeting, and I recognize there's been a couple of public meetings with respect to Center Lake, but this the October 7th meeting was specific to the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment. The official plan amendment, the key policy exception being sought was is the policy requirement for minimum frontage on at the shoreline or water's edge. And then the zoning bylaw amendment effectively proposing to rezone the lands to reflect the 33 lot plan of subdivision, the open space blocks, the commercial block, and all of that. So in preparing this memo and trying to find a path forward, what I've done is I've went through the various comments and submissions which came in at the public meeting, and there was many people spoke, and there was almost 50 written submissions, and of course, you know, those public comments and submissions are in addition to earlier comments and submissions surrounding the plan of subdivision application, plan of subdivision condo application, which was submitted to County of Haliburton, as well as the Crown Reserve request for disposition, which was submitted to the Ministry of Natural Resources. So in trying to again chart or consider a path forward with this, what I've tried to provide through this memo is my assessment or consideration of issues that I think require more attention, detail, discussion, all in the vein of, again, trying to put myself, staff, and ultimately you as the decision maker in a position to make a decision to resolve how to proceed with these applications. And so the issues that I've summarized here at top of page 3 speak to the issue of shoreline or lake access, the municipal unopened road allowance, former mine sites, comments from the Crow Valley Conservation Authority, Indigenous consultation, and supplemental peer reviews. And so I'll speak briefly on these items. The first item being shoreline and lake access, and as we're aware, the intent of the applicant is, again, in the absence of ownership or in the absence of municipal support for ownership of the Crown Reserve, the intent of the applicant is to leave the Crown Reserve as essentially as public land or Crown land, together with the Shore Road Allowance, and essentially not develop or not have ownership to the water's edge. Having said that, though, the applicant has also made it clear and is on record that there are lake-facing blocks that have been set aside in this subdivision, whose purpose is to accommodate lake access for the residents or owners of this development. And so these blocks are blocks 2 and 3, as well as block 25. And if we scroll forward in this report, blocks 2 and 3 are at the south end of the development, not far from 105, and again, you can see in the excerpt, block 2 again extends to the Crown Reserve, or abuts the Crown Reserve. Block 3 does not abut the Crown Reserve, and of course, in the middle of those two blocks is the unopened 66-foot road allowance. Now, in the fall, I was able to get out on site, as well as in with the fire chief in the boat, and was able to get a good sort of vantage point or context of the shoreline. And so if we just scroll through to figure 2, I've taken that photo facing south. You can see the culvert under the highway in the top right corner of that photo. And actually, sort of central in that photo, you can actually see the surveyor's stake. And so where I think I was standing was essentially proximate to the unopened road allowance. And so, this is sort of a snapshot of that block 2 and 3 proposed access point. And it's not, again, I think the point here is that this shoreline is not sort of a low profile, sort of easy walk to the water's edge. It's in places the rock outcrops are very, very steep, and even in this photo, I'm standing on pretty high ground. Again, with that photo looking south, and so let's just carry on and look at. And I had many photos, but I didn't feel I had a necessarily a good photo of block 25, so I didn't include a photo here. But anyway, this is at the sort of the north extent of the development, the sort of the end of the private road, as it were. And again, this is another large block that's been set aside with lands abutting the Crown Reserve, which again, the understanding that these are intended to in some way accommodate access to the for the residents to the lake. And so the reason why this access issue, in my mind anyway, is important to understand and try to resolve is that again, from the perspective of provincial policy, which permits resource-based recreation development, I sort of view it as a pretty important consideration or test that that in order for the development to proceed as a resource-based recreational use, that the manner in which access to the resource itself, to the natural resource, is sort of understood. Similar with, in a similar vein, the official plan amendment that's being sought by the applicant is again seeking an exemption to not own to the water's edge. From my perspective, in order for that exemption to be to be sort of accommodated or considered, the alternative of ownership to the water's edge, meaning where else are the owners of this development going to be able to get to the water's edge and accommodate access. That consideration is an important one to resolve, because it essentially represents to me the trade-off. So that's that is, in a sort of nutshell, is the issue of that issue of shoreline access. As we're aware, there is on the other side of the lake, there is an existing access point, a boat launch, but that boat launch and that parking area is not substantial in size, and at the end of the day, it's not owned by or under the control of this applicant or proponent. And my understanding is, again, in sort of the prime season, that parking area is pretty readily used. So reconciling or trying to better understand how those blocks are intended to be utilized is to me an important piece of information here, and trying to again, just trying to understand, not necessarily trying to prove or not approve. It's more just trying to understand how the development would work. Okay, so then the issue with the municipal unopened road allowance, and as council is aware, the access road that comes in for this development crosses over the unopened road allowance. Applicant has previously submitted a request to the municipality to close and convey so that they're able to utilize that. Municipal council did not support that request, and so the approach at this juncture going forward is by the applicant is to essentially use the land as it sits. They don't intend to own it, but because they won't own it, my understanding is case law, the intention would be to, again, use it without improving it, or without grading it, or without changing it in any way. So just on this point, I guess there's a couple of comments here, but it's hard to sort of reconcile that not only the development of 33 odd lots, but the long-term use for access purposes could incorporate a sort of a 66-foot span of land that's never altered or changed. Add on to that the fact that, let's just scroll forward in the report. I included an excerpt from this is from the lot grading or stormwater submission. And what we see here is there's a note there where it says PROP, proposed culvert 7. And so there's a low-lying wetland feature that you can see there that it extends just to the fringe of the proposed road. And so, in fact, there's according to this sketch anyway, there's a culvert in there, and to me, that the act of putting a culvert in an unopened road allowance would certainly represent a change or an alteration. So again, this is something that I just feel that if this is the approach of the applicant, that this is something that, again, needs to be clarified. And let's just the issue of the mine sites came up in the public meeting, and there are two former mine sites known as the Dixon site and the Bycroft Center Lake site. So I had good discussions with the Ministry of Environment, Energy, Mines in the mines rehab section, and they indicated in writing that they had no concerns from a physical hazards perspective with respect to the former mining activity, and they in the proposed subdivision. They referred me to, they also referred me to the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission for comments with respect to the decommissioned uranium site, as there are tailings from that mine that are stored in the water in Center Lake and Auger Lake or Auger Lake. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. In any event, they also got back to me and indicated that they had no particular concerns with respect to the proposed development. They then also suggested or referred me to Barrick Mining Corporation for comments from them. And it was really at that point where I was already in the process of writing this report. So I have not reached out to Barrick Mining Corporation, but that may be something that the applicant or their representatives would want to include in their sort of review or additional issues to resolve and provide commentary on that. Crow Valley Conservation Authority is on record with respect to the location of the proposed access road, which as it proceeds north, crosses over a wetland feature. Their rules essentially don't permit that. And so that is a technical issue that needs to be resolved with CVCA. And this has been a standing comment going back to the plan of subdivision application that was heard by the county of Haliburton. Indigenous consultation, we do have Curve Lake and the Hiawatha First Nations, both are on record as being aware of and having concerns with respect to the proposed development. And in the case of Curve Lake, I think consultation would need to continue with both these parties. In the case of Curve Lake, consultation was initiated. I don't believe it was with Hiawatha. So again, this would be something that I would suggest that the proponent would have to pick up on. Lastly, the county did undertake technical peer reviews of the various technical reports that were submitted. And again, this was in conjunction with the plan of subdivision application. Those peer reviews were summarized in the previous planning report. But there has been some supplemental natural heritage work, species at risk, as well as stormwater work that's been done. And so it would be prudent to have that additional technical work peer reviewed to ensure that we're up to date. And that's my summary, Mr. Mayor and Council, with respect to issues that I believe require further discussion. And I'll turn it back to you at this point, Mr. Mayor. And if there's any questions for me, certainly fire away and we'll go from there.
All right, thanks, Chris. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Resolution.
The council receive and accept the report Center Lake official plan and zoning bylaw amendment status as provided by the municipal planner. And the council requests the proponent to respond to the outstanding issues summarized in section 3 of the above stated report.
If someone move, Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. I'm just going to jump down to council verbal monthly report. We do have a meeting tomorrow. And I would like to move on to federal gun buyback program. Councillor Lewis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm asking the support of council to formally oppose the federal gun buyback program and that the municipality of Highlands East will not participate in any capacity in this program that only targets licensed vetted firearm owners. Federal gun buyback program aims to get gun owners to surrender more than 2,500 makes and models of guns that have been reclassified and deemed prohibited since 2020. This program will force legal gun owners to surrender or deactivate their previously legal guns to authorities by October 30th, 2026. to avoid criminal liability. Targeting licensed vetted gun owners who have complied to the rules, regulations, and laws that have been implemented over the years is a misguided attempt to give the illusion to Canadians that the federal government is making our cities, municipalities, and communities safer. This does not address the illegal guns being smuggled into Canada from across the states. This doesn't address the gang shootings or the drug trafficking, or it doesn't address the extortion that is infiltrating our cities. This doesn't address home invasions, doesn't address repeat offenders getting out on bail and to reoffend. Targeting these issues makes our cities and municipalities and communities safer, not the latter. These legal licensed gun owners live in our communities. They are hunters, farmers, sport shooters, gun collectors. We are a rural municipality with many generations of hunters who are licensed and vetted gun owners. I'm asking that the federal government to redirect our taxpaying money from demonizing law-abiding licensed gun owners as criminals and focus on getting criminals and illegal guns off our streets and put criminals in jail. I want to be clear, the violence of any kind shouldn't be tolerated. And any crime committed with any weapon that results in the death or harm of an individual, the perpetrator should always be held to the fullest account of the law. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a resolution.
That the notice of motion from Councillor Lewis regarding objection to the federal gun buyback program be received, and that the municipality of Highlands East objects and declines participation in the firearm buyback program as it is currently being mandated and implemented, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to MP Jamie Schmal, the Public Safety Minister Gary Anadasangri, and the Right Honorable Premier Mark Carney.
Prime Minister.
Oh, sorry, Prime Minister. Oops.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Public meeting. We're going to take about a 5-minute break. Caitlin, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. out of the regular meeting of council and go into February 10th, 2026 public planning meeting.
The council come out of the regular meeting of council at 11:30 a.m. for the scheduled public planning meeting, and it be declared open to discuss the following bylaw amendments made under section 34 of the Planning Act as amended pertaining to applicant Naylor AL, file number RZ 23-2025.
If someone move. Councillor Strong, second by Councillor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Problem.
The participants for the planning meeting wish to share the sentiments of the land acknowledgement statement delivered earlier at the start of the regular meeting at this time. This is a public meeting held pursuant to Section 34 of the Ontario Planning Act. The purpose of this meeting is to provide the public with an opportunity to receive information, ask questions, and offer comments regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendments under Section 34 that are being considered by council. Section 34 addresses changes to zoning bylaws that regulate land use and development. If you wish to be notified of council's decision regarding the applicant's application discussed today, please ensure you submit your request to myself, Robin Rogers, the municipal clerk. So today's file, again, is applicant Naylor AL, part lot 31, concession 15, geographic township of Glenmorgan, now in the municipality of Highlands East, and further described as Part 8 on Plan RD 141, civic address 1136 Hubbard and Montgomery Lane, roll number 4601-903-000, 3800, and file number RZ 2325. Comments were received from the County of Haliburton, which stated that they have no concerns, but did advise that the county does have a shoreline preservation bylaw applicable to the land located in the 20-meter from the high water mark of any lake in Highlands East. If the applicants intend to undertake any site alteration work that involves the removal of trees or vegetation or the adding or removal of fill within this required setback, the county should be contacted to confirm whether or not a permit is required. There was a comment received from a neighbor citing questions they had regarding the shoreline purchase and the associated rezoning, which I believe staff did address. So at this time, I will ask Chris Jones, the municipal planner, to provide an overview of the application.
Great.
Sure, are you waiting for me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Oh, okay, so I'll carry on, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So this is a public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment for applicant is Naylor. Application is RZ 23-2025. Lands are in part lot 31, concession 15, former Glenmorgan. And these folks are at 1136 Hubbard and Montgomery Lane on Minnecock Lake. The motivation for the application has to do with the acquisition of the shore road allowance. And if we scroll forward to figure 2, you can see a very modest encroachment in the shoreline setback and on the original shore road allowance by the lake-facing deck. And so that's really the upshot of the or the motivation for the application. I do believe the property has been recently acquired. Applicant has installed a new septic system and has done some interior renovations. But the zoning amendment does not propose or contemplate any further expansion to the existing dwelling, just to recognize the existing non-compliant setback. And that's the summary. And the amendment, although I'm recommending it for approval, the amendment is not actually on the agenda for council's consideration. The legal process attributed to the to the shore road disposition sort of just needs to catch up a little bit. We got this one going and then realized that that the municipal solicitors still needed to circulate the shore road to neighboring landowners. So we'll let that process run its course, and we await the registered reference plan before we'll bring back the ZBA. And that's the overview, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions? Seeing none, resolution?
So at this time, we don't have any applicants in attendance. I believe there's no members of the public, either. So at this time, I'll just ask council again, do you have any questions? Seeing none? Okay. All right, adjournment. That council adjourned the public planning meeting at 11:39 a.m. and that council reconvened to the regular meeting of council.
If someone move, Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Councilor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Public planning meeting recommendation.
The council receive and accept the report zoning bylaw amendment nailer as provided by the municipal planner as information, and that the approval of the zoning bylaw amendment be deferred pending finalization of the legal administration and registration of the reference plan.
If someone move, Councilor Strong, second by Deputy Mayor Ryle. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Resolution from other municipalities and levels of government, 10-1. I would like us to certainly support that one.
Okay.
Council, any comments? Cease?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, the resolution is the council for the municipality of Highlands East receives and supports the Haliburton County Home Builders Association motion pertaining to affordable housing, and further that council put forward the following. Whereas housing affordability is one of the most pressing issues facing Ontario families. Whereas the current HST rate on new homes in Ontario is 13%, which adds tens of thousands of dollars to the cost of a typical home. Whereas the federal and provincial governments have announced GST relief only for first-time home buyers on new built homes. And whereas according to research conducted by the Ontario Home Builders Association, first-time home buyers currently represent approximately 5% of the new home market. And whereas a full PST exemption would stimulate the construction of an additional 53,000 new homes on top of the roughly 80,000 homes already expected to be available for sale by 2026, bringing the total to approximately 132,000 units. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Highlands East calls on the Government of Canada and the Government of Ontario to remove the GST, HST from all new homes purchased as primary residence in Ontario, and be it further resolved that this resolution be circulated to the Prime Minister of Canada, Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities, and to the Premier of Ontario, the Ontario Minister of Finance, the Ontario Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, our local MP and MPP, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and to all municipalities in Ontario. And I believe Deputy Mayor Royale moved.
Yes, second. Councilor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Correspondence? Okay.
The council receive and file the resolutions from other municipalities, levels of government as submitted at the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting of council.
If someone move, Councilor Strong, second by Councilor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Correspondence?
That council received the correspondence as submitted at the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting of council.
If someone move, Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Councilor McKenzie. All in favor? Carried. Bylaws?
The bylaw numbers 2026-12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, and 20, sections 12, 12.1 to 12.9 be received, approved, and enacted at this February 10th, 2026 regular meeting, with the exclusion of bylaw 2026-17 being 12.6 being deferred as amended.
Could I have someone move? Deputy Mayor Ryle, second by Councilor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. No notice of motion. Confirmation bylaw.
That bylaw number 2026-21 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting of February 10th, 2026 be received, approved, and enacted.
If someone move, Counselor Strong, second by Counselor McKenzie. All in favor? It's carried. Adjournment.
That council adjourned the February 10th, 2026 meeting at 11:44 a.m. and to meet again on February 17th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. for the special meeting of council for the purpose of the 2026 operational budget.
If someone move, Counselor McKenzie, second by Counselor Strong. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff.